All right, check it out. Check it out. So this is a story time that I wanted to tell this story and explain what had happened for a pretty long time. Pretty crazy story. It's not the craziest of them out there, but this is pretty relatable to reoccurring themes, reoccurring instances of teacher to student relationships, if you know what I mean. And this is something that's never came out. This is something that I had witnessed because I was there. I was in the classroom. This was my teacher, etc. So there's some pretty crazy stuff that I saw. But at the time, I was a junior in high school. I was 16. So I didn't know a couple things. I didn't know how to go about it in terms of bringing it to attention or to a higher authority for proper action to be taken. And B, it wasn't necessarily happening to me directly, so I felt that I wasn't as connected to it, and that's no excuse. That was probably bad on my part. Whether you call it a snitch or not, that's just something that I probably should have brought to light a little bit earlier. I didn't, but it's in the past. But basically, I'm about to tell you about a situation with the older male teacher. See, you can already tell where this is going, where this is heading to. But he was an older gentleman. He was about 60. He's 60 plus. I don't know the exact age, and obviously I'm not going to name drop anything or give out any exclusive details, about the situation. But he was an older male teacher, and he had this issue, and apparently it's been going on for a long time because he's been teaching for a very long time, 25 plus years. Chemistry teacher, science, and I don't want to get into stereotypes and anything, but it's always some smart subject people, math, science, that are into some weird things, but I'm not going to analyze that, and that's generalization, so it's not fair to make any claims. But he was a chemistry teacher, and he was a really smart guy. He's a UCLA grad out in California. Really, really smart guy, and he wasn't a bad teacher. He wasn't ever he was never condescending or arrogant in any way. He was just a normal teacher, and he never yelled, never got on anyone, never gave an exorbitant amount of homework or did any unnecessary things to us in his curriculum. So he was a pretty chill guy. But he just had this issue with the little girls, man. And at the time, we're all the same age, and we're all high schoolers, 16, 17. But then again, in reality, we're underage and we're minors because we're under the age of 18. So yeah, those were little girls that he was messing around with. Always, and he was also a track and field coach. So he's always around them. This is his life. This is for his occupation. His work is always around younger kids, younger girls more specifically. But I just remember, man, like we'd be in class and it was never the boys, it was always the girls, you know what I mean? And he was always joking with them. Joking is fine. Anyone can joke, but when it's repetitive and it's a little bit with a little bit more energy towards a specific demographic, which were the girls, and he'd show a little bit more energy, a little bit louder, a little bit more, giddy. You definitely could tell there was a difference there in terms of the energy matched as opposed to someone else. And he'd always come up behind them and and startle them and touch them, grab his hands around the waist, and when you kind of pinch with both sides, pinching the people's sides, the love handles, or actually a little bit higher than that, your rib area. He'd do that all the time and startle them. And it was a joke, haha, at the moment. But even me being an oblivious idiot I was back then, I was like, this is a little odd. This is a little weird, man. And he'd do that and they laugh, ha ha ha. And then that's the scary part too, is that the girls themselves would be oblivious to the situation because they knew him, they were comfortable with him, and a large majority of them were on the track team. So they're like, oh, this is coach, I'm not going to say his name, but they build that relationship, and he was just a little bit too touchy with them, and he would just play with their hair too. I remember that. Like, he'd come up by the side of them walking, like checking their homework, quote unquote, and he just touched their hair, kind of like twirl it and play with it. I was like, whoo, that's OD. Frequently. And I've never asked anyone about it. I never talked to anyone about it. But when things like that happen and you're used to it as a student, him being your teacher, seeing him every day, the atmosphere, the feeling is like, oh, that's just him. That's just how he is. That's just what he does. But in reality, when you zoom the camera out, it's like, oh shoot, this guy's like low-key P, you know what I mean? So that was crazy. I'm hoping he didn't get caught or anything happen, because yeah, you want justice, but it's a lose-lose, man. Like, and to be honest, people have gotten away with a lot more, so I'm not gonna really throw him under the bus or really excoriate him like this, but that was definitely inappropriate behavior, and that was some things he shouldn't have been doing. And if things are at that level of comfortable, like if they're that comfortable, imagine the things that he was doing when I wasn't there or after school, because sometimes I went in to get extra work done, and he was in there with just a certain amount of his track and field girls. Who knows what happened, and luckily it wasn't just, from when I experienced, luckily there wasn't just one person that was there with him, because that could have ended bad, and who knows what could have happened with the doors closed. So I don't know, man. It's a lot of weird things. He was always around girls, always geeky and laughing with them, never been messing with us or the man or the male. But man, those are some interesting times. And again, it was just, you can't put your hands on them and twirl their hair and be close with them talking, man. So I don't know, man. I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not gonna even mention that. But yeah, hopefully, he's good. After I graduated, a couple years after, I did hear out of the grapevine, and who knows, it might be true or not. I don't know the extensive details of it, but they said that he resigned, might have retired. You don't know. When it comes to someone retiring or resigning, because he was pretty old, it could mean a lot of things, but he might have got caught up. Who knows? He might have gotten caught up with everything. Word might have slipped out, and he might have just left at the right time. And at that time, unless something serious happened where someone wanted, one of the victims, quote unquote, if they wanted to bring it to law enforcement, they could have. I don't think that happened. It was just kind of things that happened at school, so that's good. It wasn't anything where he was breaking the law. But again, man, you gotta watch it for those creepy teachers, man. Especially if you're a young girl out there. Hope you listen to this video and just learn. Like, you gotta watch out, because there's a bunch of crazy dudes out here. It's probably another video that I should make about male and men and how they're animals. But the age ranges and the occupation and profession changes too. So females and girls out there, watch out, especially if you're younger. These people are predators, literally. Keep your head on a swivel, man. That was a crazy story I wanted to share, and hopefully I'll have some more wild things. This is just for educational purposes, because it's like a what not to do and how to react to it. So, man, keep your head on swivel, keep your eyes peeled. Stay safe out there, man.